Live from the Fox Den, I'm your host, Courtney B. This is my guy,
Taylor Young.
and this is Bad Guys and Bourbon, a show where we talk about movies, TV, pop culture, bad guys, most importantly,
Bourbon.
my guy. Let's get to it. What we got?
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and try James and Pepper 1776. You actually picked this bottle up, so why don't you tell me a little bit about why you did that? I'll pour the glass.
Absolutely.
Slide that
So,
straight here.
you're like the whiskey connoisseur, so I wanted to impress you.
All right.
I went in,
Tell me more.
and I didn't actually start drinking whiskey until we started hanging out about 10 years ago. So
Okay.
I wanted to get something to kind of like set the ambiance.
I appreciate that.
So I went in and I saw the proprietor, and I said, "Look, man, I need something good. We're doing this thing." Long story short, he said, "You want to do this. This is what you want to do. If you've kind of had the popular names and the Bullets and the Jameson.
Sure.
And all
This
that.
is kind of the next logical
Yeah,
step.
he
All
said,
right.
"This is it." So
Very good. We'll put that there in the center. Let's take.
James E. Pepper.
We're gonna rate this at the end of the episode. So for right now, we're just gonna do a little
Go,
taste,
little
and then we'll do a
swish.
little. Yeah.
Let me
Let's
clear my palate real quick.
do that. Are you ready? Mine's
I'm
clear.
gonna cheers it up.
All right. Ready? 1, 2. All right. John.
Fact checking, Joe. All right,
All right.
let's go.
Very good.
Oh man.
All right. Well, while
right.
you guys mull that over, quick little bio here. This is James and Pepper 1776 straight bourbon, 100 proof.
100 proof.
They have it listed on the website as a rich bourbon. A lot of sweetness, rye, spice, vanilla, honey, cloves, and chocolate.
I taste the vanilla.
Okay.
Definitely taste the cloves. I don't taste the chocolate just
For
yet.
whatever reason, they recommend it neat, over ice, in a proper old fashioned, or over whiskey rocks, which I'm not really sure you can consume it any other way. It seems like they're basically just saying that it's good with anything.
It's sweet. It is sweet. Yeah.
Pretty solid. I'm kind of into it. We'll see how it goes. We'll put the website for the whiskey at the end of the video, so if you want to read more about it, they have a whole story on there.
About the Pepper family.
Basically about the whole rise and fall and resurrection of
Mr. Pepper.
essentially.
And his lovely cars.
In 2000, it was shut down for a long time, but kind of came back in 2008. So it's making a bit of a comeback. But there's a whole story there.
Says he's a horseman of international fame.
Something like that.
This guy.
Yeah, Josh. Can you confirm it or not?
Yeah, indeed, he is a horseman of international
I don't
fame.
even know what that means.
All right.
Did he own a horse? Was he at the Preakness?
It's a totally different time.
Oh my gosh. All right, so moving on, now that we've kind of cracked the bottle and we are past that, we're going to keep sipping it throughout the episode and we'll rate it at the end. So we're going to talk, this episode is about The Haunting of Hill House.
Ghosts.
Ghosts.
I ain't scared of no ghosts.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start with a quick little synopsis, then we're going to jump into like some trivia and fun facts. All right. So the synopsis, I did not write the synopsis, by the way. I stole this 100%. All right.
And that's
so,
okay.
Yeah. Flashing between past and present, a fractured family confronts haunting memories of their old home and the terrifying events that drove them from it.
And they got
All right?
crazy.
And that might be, I don't know if that's like a Netflix synopsis or who wrote that, but that's like,
It got weird.
and that's bare bones too, but we're assuming again that you've seen this show because
Right.
they're about to ruin the whole thing for you.
Yeah, spoilers. So if you
you've
haven't
not
seen it-
seen the show,
circle back.
yeah, now that you've wasted 5 minutes with us, go back,
This
watch
show is
the show.
always online, always
And,
on our
you know.
YouTube channel, always on our website. You can
Correct.
pause right now where my hand is. and then come right back to my hand and pick up right where you left off. There you go.
All right. So this show, okay, it originated as a book, which most people probably know. It was a movie actually twice. There was a film in 1963, one in 1999.
What was it? Not to cut you off. It was a book first, right?
Ahead. It was a book first. Yeah.
Right.
Correct. Yeah, I said that right.
Did you say that?
I think
Definitely
I did.
said it.
You just
actually were
reading-
breathing out from saying that when he asked you.
I'm sorry.
if you
You
said it.
tripped me up a little bit because I was like,
My
"Damn,
apologies.
did I really
You got
just-
it, my guy.
Did I say that in my head and blew past it? But anyway. All right. So anyway, it was a book, then a film, then another film. And now we're staring at a series. It's a Netflix series. Mike Flanagan is the director-writer
He did
of
Ouija.
said series.
He did Oculus.
Oculus, indeed. There's actually a couple of items from the Oculus film hidden throughout the house.
Didn't pick that up.
I didn't either, but it is supposed to be there.
Well, apparently he likes to like incorporate all of his films into like a smaller universe, but not overtly small Easter eggs like here and there.
I like that. I like that very much. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're gonna blow through some trivia real quick, just some fun facts
Let's do it. I love
before we
your
get
trivia.
into
Let's
like
go.
the meat of the show, right? Because that's kind of fun stuff. All right. So there are several scenes at Hill House, mostly in wide shots, mind you, where you can actually see ghosts in the background. People are like hands are moving, shadows, faces. Things are going on in the background of scenes, and you actually have to look out for them like pretty closely. It is there. I've seen it a few times.
Where it's just stuff happening?
Yeah, like there's like statues and paintings and pictures and things like that. That'll be like in the background, right?
I
so
was
like,
also
for example,
terrified, so I
in
watched
this
this with the lights
episode,
on.
like there would be somebody in this like window back here moving around, but it wouldn't be like the point of the scene. Like you and I
Okay.
would be having our own conversation and something else is happening.
And you just wouldn't.
It's like little Easter eggs that are kind of fun to pick up once in a while. You have to like watch it twice, I think, because you have to like really focus on the background stuff. But it's cool. Into it. All right, so moving on. Young Hugh Crane. All right.
Hugh, the dad, right?
Hugh, yes. So this
Yeah.
is the father. There's a young version of him in the show, as everyone's probably well aware. But when he's young in the series, he's actually wearing blue contacts. As he goes on through the story, his contacts actually fade color. They fade to gray, and the old version of his character has gray contacts in. So there's like this again, kind of color representation.
And what happens to him at the end?
essentially.
Yeah,
Right,
okay.
of somebody fading
It's kind of a
out.
foreshadowing.
Correct. Yeah. Again,
Perfect. Okay.
not something that
Can
you would
overtly
necessarily
pick
pick
up.
up on, but sure. Shirley Jackson, who wrote the original novel.
She's still
No, absolutely not. But
Probably
we can
not.
get a confirmation.
1965, she passed away.
Boom.
Age of 48, unfortunately.
Very good.
Died young.
So in her original story, Eleanor, Theo, Luke are not siblings and did not grow up in Hill House.
just people.
Yeah, and then, I think they're characters in the book, if I could correct. Yes,
Fact
we're
check.
getting a yes. So they're
Yeah.
characters in the book, and I guess a call out here to make is that the series does take some shifts from the source material. Like there are some things that are expanded upon and reworked, which is okay.
Of course,
fine,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And that's kind of it's gonna happen, right? I think
Especially if you take a book and then make it
Yeah,
an
it's
8-hour.
such a long series.
You got to
sure.
make your own amendments and iterations to kind of give it life and make it your own. So yeah, of course.
Yep. Okay, so Kate Segal, who is Theodora Crane, right? She
My favorite.
Sorry.
My favorite. By the way.
She's incredible. Yeah, she probably is
Those
like
gloves.
the fan favorite, I would argue. But she discovered that she was pregnant shortly after filming started.
Okay.
Yep. And she was sick throughout the majority of shooting.
That'll do it.
Morning sickness, all kinds of different things. But she ultimately wound up naming her daughter after her character.
Nice.
Interestingly enough. So.
Her daughter with...
Oh,
The
the director. Yeah.
Yeah, husband and wife, I'm told. So
I like that.
can't take a shot anymore.
Yeah. Too bad for me.
This was the call out about the Oculus connection. So the Lasser glass from Oculus. I don't know if that's exactly how it's pronounced.
The
Lasser.
Lasser?
Lasser.
I don't know.
Okay.
Didn't do much.
There's an
Oculus
item
research.
in Oculus, and I didn't either, so that's our fault. But there's an item in Oculus that can be seen on the wall of Hill House while Nell is dancing through it. Obviously, both of these films, shows, etc., have been directed by Mike Flanagan, so we were kind of talking about earlier, a little bit of a connection there. Moving on. Young Theo and older Theo, so the characters that played each of them, McKenna Grace and Kate Segal, right? They both kept journals in the persona of their character.
Nice.
Okay, writing about
Love
their
that.
experiences and thoughts, and then they would swap journals to gain better understanding of one another throughout
Method
filming.
acting. Love it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Method acting. That's
I
cool.
like that. It seems like a pain, though, to have to write all that stuff down.
I mean,
I don't know.
I think
Maybe
it adds
you have a
value.
lot
You're
of
in
time.
character the whole time. You're engrossed in those emotions
And maybe
and
you're
thoughts.
like bored on set.
If you get bored, you can just write as your character.
It just seems like kind of like a side project. Like maybe they should release it.
You didn't like extra credit and stuff as a kid. Like,
No. No one did. All right. So
He's perfect already, didn't need it.
yeah. Straight A's, baby. Not at all. But Steven, okay, is named after Steven Spielberg. Okay, he's very much involved with this project. Has kind of his hands all over it, seemingly. So that's kind of a nod to him. And then the last thing that I have here, which is I thought really cool, and I did not pick up on this at all when I was watching the show. But all of the children represent the 5 stages of grief.
I thought this was so dope.
So Stephen represents denial, Shirley represents anger, Theo represents bargaining, Luke represents depression, and Nell represents acceptance.
Yes.
I thought that was very cool. Did not pick up on it.
So, to add to that, what I also read was he did research on binge watching, and he knew this was going to be on Netflix. So he did that thing with the characters. So he based it on those 5 stages of grief that you go through while you're binge watching a show.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
All right.
He did his research, man. He really.
He's professional. Okay, so that closes out our trivia.
Trivia.
Yeah, we're moving on. We're getting out
I
of
love your
trivia.
fun facts, man.
Yeah,
They're
fun
always good.
facts. It's very fun.
So much fun.
So much fun. All right, so now for the not as fun part.
The
of
meat,
conversation.
and potatoes of
Yeah,
it.
so-
Let's do it.
We're gonna run through a couple of questions that the two of us had for one another, right? So the first thing that I have written down here is there are several iterations of this story, right? We have several films, the book, obviously, and then the series that comes along, which is over 8 hours plus. I mean, it's 8 episodes, right? Is it 8 episodes or 10? 8? I think it's 8. So
yeah.
we're at roughly 8 hours, if not maybe a little bit more, right?
Which I feel like is a great number.
And that's kind of what this is about.
Yeah.
So is 8 hours it seems like it's the...
It is 10.
It's 10.
It's 10.
Ooh. All right, so we're
Oh,
gonna
yeah. All right,
correct this.
That's what this is about, you know?
Yeah.
All right,
Anyway,
so
it's 10.
10 hours.
As we thought originally.
The point remains the same,
Right.
okay? Does it work better as a series when we have so much material all of a sudden? We're going from 2-hour film to 10-hour series. Is it, for you, did it pay off? Is it worth the investment of time?
I think it paid off in how this was written and what we talked about, with the 5 stages of grief, because you can then develop the characters. You can really see from each one's point of view what they're dealing with. And for this series, why they are haunted so bad, like what drove Luke to addiction, what caused Nell to have such anxiety, why is Shirley so angry, and why is Theo so disconnected, and having and the glove. So it gives space to expound on all of these different characters without throwing in a bunch of filler, because we watch a lot of we binge watch a lot of shows. A lot of stuff is just like a lot of filler, a lot of stories and plots that just kind of lead nowhere. This was written in a way where each story came right to a point, which I felt was amazing.
Yeah, it was. I would say rather, one of my favorite things about the series was the fact that the story arcs for all of the characters were so developed.
Yeah.
There was so much time with each one. They almost each have their own episode.
They put the feels in it.
Aside from maybe like the father, because we don't get tons of backstory, and even the parents. I guess we don't get tons of backstory on the parents. Like I guess there is the younger version and the older version of the father, but
it did kind of just happen to
full,
them, right?
Like the full spectrum of kind of like their lives. Like the kids were there for the beginning, it feels like, and then kind of like the end ultimately, right? So I feel like it's much more about the kids. But as far as character arcs are concerned, like I think they did such a great job, and I think that the 10 hours
was just right.
It was great.
It was just right.
It was really, really great.
And then even the father and the mother, like it comes to a head at the end with his arc and the mother reemerging, and not I don't want to spoil.
And it seems like that's probably like the format moving forward. Would you say that that's true? Like it feels like Netflix, HBO, they're all coming out with these top-notch series. It seems like the focus is now 6 hours, 8 hours, 10-hour formats, not films anymore.
I like it because like a lot of the stuff that they're making adaptations of were not successful films. Like the 1999 film with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Liam Neeson was just not, to my standards, it wasn't a good scary movie.
It was nowhere.
I wasn't even alive for the 1963 one, surprisingly. So to know that like this is where all of that came from, and I didn't even really know that until I went back and like did my research again, like for this, that was the source material. I was like, oh man, like they really killed it. Like they really went all in, and he changed it a little bit. Like it wasn't just a group of people; it was a family, and then all the family is intertwined with all of the haunting.
It was good.
Big up to Flanagan.
All right, so we're into the series.
We're in it now.
We're into the series. We're buying the format. We're all about it. Moving on from.
You've binge watched the first three.
Moving on from films.
Yeah.
Not like entirely, but it seems like the trend is.
I think to make, as far as the company standpoint goes, to keep a lower budget, you're investing in the actors, you're investing in the story, you have time to build it, you're investing in directors that really have a story to tell, and they're not just here to throw something in the box office and live off royalties. And to see like everything else that Netflix has developed around, like apparently, man, they have like $80 million in development of original content over the past, in 2018. And to see it, and it is actually good, it's giving like HBO and like Showtime, like those guys like a run for their money. And Amazon is next. They're doing their own thing, Lord of the Rings. So shit, I'm about to stay home. I'm never going back to the movie.
Yeah, it's tough. That's a tough one. But I'm into the series.
This is what we're in for.
All right, so the supernatural is a driving force in the series, but there are nods to superpowers, okay, or something.
Can I say I didn't like that?
Which side do we fall on though? Is it like we're talking supernatural, superpower? What's the difference? First, let's establish that. Maybe there's a definition that would like help us.
Supernatural, literally, I feel like deals with like the paranormal, like the beyond.
Okay.
I think superpowered, we immediately fall with like Superman and like X-ray vision and shit.
So I mean Theo's ability, which I know you have some feelings about, and we're gonna unpack that.
I gotta unpack it.
There are examples of superheroes who have possessed
this same ability.
That ability.
AKA
and we've referenced David Dunn. We've referenced it as a superpower. So while
it could be kind of she's more like a medium maybe, which is supernatural.
We've seen all the superheroes.
We do.
All right.
Supernatural is defying science, essentially, is the core of it, which really is kind of the square rectangle thing, right? Every square is a rectangle, not every rectangle is a square, right?
Right.
Every superhero is supernatural.
They're all in a box.
That's very good.
All right, so give me your hot takes real quick on Theo, because I know you have some issues here.
Theo? Okay. I was all in on the horror aspect of it, and then all of a sudden she has powers, and it kind of threw me for a loop, because I was like, why? And then as I got through the series, it didn't turn me off. I just was kind of like, why? It was never explained. It just was kind of like...
It was explained a little bit, though. I mean, not as far as, like, what exactly it is, but her mother has it. And there is a, like...
But
there is a history of certain women in the family having that ability and having that power. And there is a scene where the two of them kind of discuss it and acknowledge that this is like it's like a dark gift that they have.
I might have been texting it.
And
might have missed
the
it.
mother actually hands gloves over and passes gloves over.
I do remember that part. Yeah.
So there is an acknowledgement of it in the sense that like it's a thing and it came from this place.
I just thought it was gonna have a deeper play.
Okay. I think it was a pretty steady thread throughout the series. I think they didn't like shy from it. They
didn't.
Definitely leaned into
It was like from the jump with the gloves. Like they played it all the way through. I didn't feel it was needed. Not for what we were.
I don't know if the show would have worked the same way
without it.
Because they leaned on it so hard. Not to say that they couldn't have rewritten it or changed things so that it wasn't as important.
Sure.
But there are definitely moments in the show
that
where
wouldn't have
that
happened
ability
without it,
directly impacts the course of other characters.
The
or
wall.
The narrative,
She touches the wall.
All kinds of things.
Yeah.
So it does have its
moments.
It does have its
Has
moments of necessity. So
it brought me down, but it has its ups.
I was really into it. Here's where would have gone off the rails for me is if other people had
okay.
other powers.
All right. I feel like I was setting myself up
one.
for that expectation.
I'm okay with one power.
I thought Luke was gonna have some power, and then now I was like, all right, now I'm not watching this anymore because now they're superheroes.
That's where it would have gone too far. But I was okay with one of them being almost like a medium or somebody that could.
And that's what I was expecting.
It was kind of a nice bridge. It kind of helped connect some of the unknown.
I thought the mother was gonna come back.
It's kind of like the Three-Eyed Raven, right? It's it's bringing over some of the other stuff that we need.
Dropping gems. Three-Eyed Raven.
Ooh, gems.
We watch our shit, guys.
Mm-hmm. We do.
So yeah, it wasn't a big hit for me. It wasn't a miss, but it wasn't a big hit. It brought me down. It set my expectation level a little weird because I thought there were going to be other things that were unexplained, but it didn't turn me off. Watch it all the way through.
All right.
Again, Theo's my favorite. The gloves did something to me.
Great.
Loved that.
How was it from a scary standpoint? Did it scare you? I'm always curious as if people found it as a lingering, scary, or was it just jump scares for you to get scared at movies?
I had to watch it at night. I just felt like I had to set the mood. And also, no one else in my home would watch it with me because black people don't watch scary shit because they get scared.
Nothing at all?
No one watched it with me. I had to watch it by myself. I was scared shitless.
What about Saw or something? Does that define?
Those are slashers. That's different.
But that's what I'm saying. There is a separation.
Oh yeah.
This is the new Halloween.
Slasher.
So you watch
different. Watch that shit.
Not the same thing.
Oh,
so this is you would put this in the horror.
Yeah, this is horror.
This is scary. This is legitimate.
Yeah, man, it's scary.
Keeping me up at night.
But I'm by myself.
Yeah.
I had to turn a lamp on at one point.
It's not good. I've been rewatching it during the day, and at work, I'll have it on in one of the corner screens.
And it's something like
and I've got headphones on, right? Legitimate headphones on. It's terrifying.
It is, man.
In the middle of the day, I'm like, all right, we gotta turn this down.
And I'm watching this alone at home in my, my living room, lights off.
There's a lot of windows in my office. It's daylight.
I'm
terrifying.
I ain't no bitch. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna cut the lights off. And I'm gonna watch it, and then I scared myself.
I'm
and then turn the light back on.
I'm shrinking the screen.
And it was scary.
When it gets real intense, I'm
it was
sliding
scary,
my
man.
headphones off. I'm like, I'll come back.
And Flanagan would do things he worked the camera really well. Sometimes the CGI was okay, that's scary, but it was CGI. But it's hard to scare people in 2018, 2019. I feel like the last scary movie I really saw was The Ring, and that was almost a little over 10 years ago.
Gore Verbinski actually directed that. Pirates
So
of the Caribbean.
You have to use the element of surprise a lot to scare people with horror films, especially supernatural stuff, because people have kind of gotten to the point they're like, none of this is real, it could never happen, until you're watching it and you're like, damn, that could happen.
Yeah.
And I was watching this and I was like, all right. Like I had to take a break from it because it was like sometimes I would like be in the shower and like close my eyes and I like, oh shit, I feel like I'm gonna see a ghost. And like, no, there's no one there. It was messing with me, man.
It did.
It got me.
It
got
affected
to me a little bit.
The first time I watched it, for sure, and that was like the case you're kind of talking about. Like I was watching it at night, and it wasn't good. And then I'm like the one that's responsible for taking the dogs out, like middle of the night, 3 a.m. Winnie's like, we gotta go.
For two grown men to say, yeah, man, this is.
You don't know what I've seen. We're not going out there.
Yeah.
But then we do, and it's terrible.
It was. He did a great job.
It's very effective. I think from that standpoint, like there's few things that have a physical effect on me outside of watching it. Like most things, I can like walk away from it.
I had to like put Bob's Burgers on.
This wasn't
to like change my.
This
palate.
left me feeling weird in a lot of situations.
Did you say cleanse my palate with Bob's Burgers? Is that what you said?
I did.
Okay.
It's a great palate cleanser.
Yep.
I'm an office guy.
More than one way.
I know what you're saying. Bob's Burgers, I frequent that too, but
That's Tina, man.
you know, I don't know. Something like Jim's voice. Just
But yeah, man,
puts me to sleep.
it legitimately scared me at some point.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we can agree on that.
I'm a grown man. I can admit when I'm scared.
That's good. I was terrified the whole time. Throughout the series, okay, so there's numerous, and what I would consider, and I think a lot of people would, but filmmaking achievements. So, for example, in episode 5, or episode, I think it's episode 6, sorry, episode 6, I believe.
6 was Luke, right?
6 was The Two Storms, is the name of it.
The Two Storms.
Josh can confirm for us. There's an episode, it's called The Two Storms.
Got it.
I think it's episode 6.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5 shots, the whole episode. 5 shots.
It's the parlor.
Correct.
Oh,
and
yeah,
so there's like
is.
these really long tracking
It
shots
is.
that are like 15 minutes, 20 minutes long, one take. And it's just this continuous dialogue, continuous camera movement. It's
intense.
really remarkable.
It's
and,
intense.
True Detective Season 1 had a moment like this in an episode where there was, and this was the episode where he kind of like went into like that little neighborhood and broke in like that drug dealer's house and kind of kidnapped that guy and dragged him through the whole neighborhood, and it was all one long sequence, one long take, right? So that's an example, right, of something that is, I think, oftentimes like not noticed or overlooked by most people, and filmmakers for sure. I mean,
they're setting out to like kill it and do that.
Some of them, yes, but most, I would say, probably aren't worried about that kind of stuff because the average viewer is not thinking about it, not looking for it or paying attention to it, and it takes so much time, effort, money. They designed the entire set was designed
so they could shoot
this one episode. Wow. Like how everything is laid out and built is all built so they could shoot this one episode.
Now that I'm like replaying the episode in my head, I'm like,
and
yeah,
they have
just like 5 shots.
It's multiple levels, and they have the old house or the Hill House and the parlor and all that are all one. Like it's all built.
Right.
So they're like moving through like all these hallways.
As they like come through, and they're walking.
And there's like
when they follow
elevators
Hugh through the back.
And there's elevators for like the camera crew to like they actually like get on with their dolly and the elevator goes down and the dolly goes off the elevator. Like
I remember
really
now.
crazy things, right?
Dope.
And I guess, so my question was, I think Netflix actually made a little bit of a big deal about this. Like, they did talk about it. There's a little, like, episode kind of recap that you can watch on Netflix that kind of goes behind the scenes on this, I think. So Netflix seemed to value it. The creator the creators and the producers, they all seem to value it. And I think it's, like, it's kind of a risky move. Like, it's this, it's this long shot, this, like, Hail Mary of creativity. And I'm wondering, do you think that it makes, like, does it pay off? Does it work for you? Does it work for everybody?
Definitely.
Is it worth the risk?
Definitely. I think the first time I really noticed some cinematography like that was with Daredevil season 1. And he had that long hallway scene fight that was all one shot.
I do remember that.
That's when I started watching Netflix differently. I was like, they're not shooting this like typical TV.
Yeah.
They're taking chances. They are taking their, cinematography degrees to a whole new level.
Sure.
They're experimenting with new things. So then I was like, around that time, I was like, that's when I was like, let me delve into. So all of these different shows that they're coming out with, they are experimenting with all of these new styles. So I'm not surprised by any margin that was done like that. Like in retrospect, I'm like, yeah, damn, it was done like that. I was probably more scared than anything. That's probably why I didn't notice it.
Yeah.
But
it's very cool.
Yeah,
You got to go
very,
back and
very
watch
cool,
it.
man.
Another very interesting thing that they did, and I'm not sure if you picked up on this. I didn't until they revealed it at the very end. But the red room, right? So the red
I
room.
wanted to get in that room so bad.
The red room makes its appearance throughout the entire show, but
Right.
it takes the form of different
Rooms.
space bunnies in it, right? So
And you don't see that until about what,
you
episode
don't.
5?
I didn't notice it. I didn't pick up on it.
I picked
well,
up on it.
they reveal it, I think, in the last episode.
When
That it's the same room for all these
Elle
people.
and Shirley are trying to get into the room,
Yep.
and on the other side of the room, Theo is in there. And she's like breakdancing.
Yes, correct. So that room is the red room.
Right. That.
Yes.
Yeah.
But for like each kid, it's a different.
It's a different.
Right.
That's
I
crazy.
didn't realize that until like the reveal at the end where they like tied it in. But like if you actually go back and watch the scenes, the rooms are actually all the exact same. Like there's like different things in the rooms. Like
Decorations, colors, yeah.
decorations, yeah, that kind of stuff. But the rooms themselves are the exact same. So all of the kids actually get to spend time in that room, and they just don't know it. So yeah, I think that those risks are really cool.
Because they think the room is locked.
I'm into it.
Oh my god.
I know. The mind games. All right. So that kind of brings us into a little bit like the final chapter of the show, which is essentially talking about the villain, right? Which this is a weird one.
This is a weird one.
Because it's not super cut and dry. Like in the last episode, it was pretty straightforward. So this is a little bit of an anomaly, right? So let's take a stab at this. Ghosts, residents, so like the occupants of the home, right? Homeowners and
Ghosts,
whatnot,
residents.
or the house.
Or the
so
house.
you take a vote. What do you think? What's the main villain?
Well,
in
don't
this
the
series?
ghosts and I guess you can't have one without the other, right? Because you wouldn't get the ghosts if you never went to the house.
Interesting theory,
Right?
It's kind of the side that
I mean, ghosts probably not
They
gonna,
all play a role, is my stance.
they're not going to chase me until I go spend the night in that house.
Sure.
And now I'm standing there, and now I can't escape these crazy ghosts. So, I guess I want to say ghosts and house are kind of intertwined, but then it kind of feels like the residents are haunted by themselves.
Yeah.
Right? You don't, like the last episode really explores like what is really haunting them, and it's another psychological burn, man. Especially when episode 10 picks up with Steve and he's talking to his pregnant wife. And I'm sitting there the whole time, I'm like, oh man, it's almost over. And then it just jumps right into the episode. And she's like, I'm not pregnant. And she's like, it's crazy. It fades away. But I'll say we got ghosts, residents, house. I'm going to go with house. I'm going to go with the house, man.
That's a pretty good call. And I think ultimately I would probably agree with you, but let's say each play a role. Right?
I do think
so.
Kinda.
Like, the ghosts are a major component throughout the show, right? And they attribute to the outcome, like through their presence and influence, etc. Right? So there's actually Nell's husband dies from an aneurysm, right? And she claims an aneurysm, right? And she claims that the Bennett lady is responsible for it, right? So and there's a scene depicting it, but and at the same time, she's ultimately the bent neck lady. So
did she kill him? I never thought about that. She killed him. Damn. Oh, you just.
I know.
And I watched the whole thing.
Bit of a trick because you don't. Yeah, you can kind of interpret it in so many different ways. Like, did she? Was it a freak thing? I don't know. Like, it's just one of those.
Or was it like her, whatever bad inside her being taken out by the house and, you know.
I don't. It doesn't go that deep. I kind of feel like Nell was just, unfortunately, an innocent bystander who just got swooped into this.
Yeah.
My second
She's
favorite character. by the way.
definitely like a victim for sure.
She didn't really do anything bad. It just kind of haunted her. And
Yeah.
Bedneck Lady was definitely a top tier ghost.
It was great.
The breathing, terrible.
Floating above the
The
bed.
floating, the breathing,
Not a
and
fan.
it was.
Which kind of brings me to the next one. So, like, the people that live there, right? The residents, the kids, the father, the mother, they facilitate the outcome by making decisions, essentially, that move one another closer to whatever the evil
Haunting,
entity
right.
is, right? So, are they, how much are they to blame? And, what's their level of involvement? Because at some point, the mother...
Well, they're children. They start off as children. You can't blame children.
I'm not blaming the children.
Children
So,
is.
the children make decisions later on that I think...
In their life that
correct.
influences...
The parents make the decisions on the front end, some that I don't think are great decisions.
No, not
right?
at all.
That attribute to who these kids ultimately become. And then they, in turn, kind of don't screw each other over. But, now, if somebody would have answered the damn phone...
She wouldn't have
Perhaps.
went in there. I mean... And now her ghost says this. It wouldn't have made a difference.
Maybe.
She-
Not. She says that.
And
But why is she reaching out to all of her siblings?
She doesn't. She knows what's going to happen when
She's
she goes in
reaching
there.
out to all of her siblings. I think that there's...
I think at that point she knew she was the Bedneck Lady.
I don't think
I gotta fulfill my destiny
I
or
don't think
whatever.
she picked up on that.
She knew what was going to happen when she walked in the house.
Mm.
I think she did.
I think she went to the house because the psychiatrist was like, you need
You
to
gotta
face
face
your
your
fears.
fears.
There's nothing at that house. It's a
And you pulled
old...
up, and the fucking
Yeah.
lights are on in the house.
Yeah.
No one's been in the house in 30 years, and she pulls up and the lights are on.
Yeah, so...
It's a
you
party
know,
in there.
I don't know. If
Popping bottles, drinking whiskey.
Make it look like we're home. Nobody will break in.
You should invite your psychiatrist next time.
Yeah.
If it's just a normal house, why don't you come
Why
with
did
me?
she send a Bedneck Lady to see her?
Why don't you come with me? We're going to go check this house out together. See what he says then. I'll buy your ticket.
The husband was nice too.
All right, so I think the house, which you and I got to this a little bit. So the house is ultimately the source
It's
of
evil.
the power. The manipulator, the puppeteer.
I was waiting for a
Segal.
burial ground or something.
Yeah.
I was waiting on
It preys upon the occupants
Yeah.
of the house, right? Using the ghosts,
Something's
using the
weird.
residents. It influences kind of them to do its bidding and whatnot. And it's supernatural
and we get
powers, etc. Right?
a ghost.
So
we
that's
get
probably the ultimate villain. And I think it's a fantastic villain. I thought this about Poltergeist. Any haunted house film. First of all, I'm a sucker for haunted house films.
Oh, I love
it's
them.
It's my bread and butter. I love
what
it.
other ones?
So
are
good.
Poltergeist, The Haunting of Hill House,
The Others.
The Others.
The Others is a really good
What's
one.
it-
I mean, I don't know. There's so many. I feel like I could just list them off. I will during the episode. I'll
Yeah,
list a few
after
off.
hours.
But
Catch us listening.
oh gosh, Paranormal Activity, which is like a ghost thing, but it takes place in the house, right? That whole idea of being in your house and having something
And you can't escape
supernatural
it.
confronting you,
Yeah.
and there's no way to really combat that.
Mm-hmm.
Is a fantastic
Scary
thing.
as fuck.
The Orphanage.
Didn't see that one.
Big fan of The Orphanage.
Again,
Right?
no one will watch this stuff with
Scary
me. You know that.
movie.
I'm
All
gonna watch it
about
with you.
All right, dude, you can come on over. So we'll get into it. Oh my gosh, so many more scary movies that take place in houses are coming to my head right now, but we're gonna move on. The layering of villainous influences is pretty dynamic. In my opinion, I think it works pretty well. In tandem, I think that they all kind of...
Can we talk about Screaming Mimi's? What's her name? The ghost who kind of seduces the mother. Remember episode 9?
I do remember this.
She's kind of like, yeah, what would you do for your children? Would you do anything? She
Yes.
kind of provokes the mother into performing these acts of violence.
Yeah.
And taking Abigail and, the tea party scene.
Yeah.
But we never really find out what her purpose is besides she was in the house at some point. She was she part of the family that lived there? don't
I
remember.
think all of the ghosts that are in the house are from previous families that have lived there. I think that's her.
Poppy Hill?
Poppy Hill.
Poppy.
Poppy.
She was menacing.
Pulling no punches.
She was menacing.
Coming
and
through. She really was. She really shut things down there too in the end. I mean,
she was a major player in the final episode. She kind of does the dope tap in the forehead, and everybody just kind of blacks out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
How much do they go into her in the?
They don't.
I don't feel like they do really.
She just kind of shows up, and she's kind of the voice of the house.
So there's a write-up here which has a clip from the TV show, but I don't know if this is from the book also, but I'll just read it real quick if that's all right.
How you doing?
Met her husband in an asylum
I'm good.
where they were both patients, took up in residence in the house shortly after. As it goes, she infiltrates Olivia's mind, convinces her that her children need saving from the terrible realities of the world. She believes the only way to wake them from their nightmares is to kill them.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's just it. Like, we don't know that backstory. She just kind of appears.
Yeah.
Which is interesting to me. I mean, I thought it was a cool element. I just didn't know where she was.
Was that in the book? We have a book expert. Is that in the book?
What?
Poppy Hill.
Poppy Hill
No, it's not. Like the backstory isn't talked about at all.
is the character in the book.
It just kind of.
Poppy's not there. No, because there aren't really actually ghosts in the book. It's much more the house and like sort of these interactions with the home that causes the people to be kind of unstable. But it's a much less sort of insidious, in your face presence. If that makes sense.
Well, that's not as sexy.
It's not as sexy. The book is not as sexy.
The book wasn't.
It was also from 1959 or something, so.
So back then, it was,
I'm gonna write me
it was a
scary
real
story.
hoot.
What is sex?
No, I'm sure it was great. I didn't read it.
The outcome was relatively positive. I mean, for
The ending, it ended
all
good.
things considered, right? It ends on a positive note. But this actually wasn't always the case.
What was it?
The original ending
Everybody
was
died.
very dark. And it was pulled
They
early
pulled
on.
it?
They pulled it early on because it did not go over well. So, but like, what are your thoughts? Do you like the positive ending? Would you want to like?
I was kind of relieved that
You
they
want to go
walked out
all
of
in?
there.
You want to go all in and get dark with it, or what?
Me, because it's fiction. I'm always like, kill everybody.
Sure.
You know,
Why not?
Why not?
Let them burn.
You know,
Game of Thrones.
It's
Kill
over.
them all.
Get them out of there. Let one lone survivor and do the second season of them dealing with it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I was kind of relieved. I mean, because I was invested in Luke. I wanted him to get out of there. I wanted who was remaining. I was really upset when Nell.
She's a sweetheart.
Nell, she's one of my favorite when the house took.
I mean, that's. I mean, I feel like that's why they chose her. Ultimately, it's like it hits the hardest.
Like, she was so sweet.
I mean, that's the most impactful, right? I mean, there's nobody else at that point. Once you've lost her, you're bottomed out. So it's just like kill anyone.
5 stages of grief.
Yeah.
I was grieving.
Do them all in.
Oh man, but yeah, I think I was. It could have worked either way, right? Them walking out of there was good. I felt relieved. I accepted what happened. Nell moved on. Father moved on, and they got the hell out of there. But if the house took everybody, I wouldn't have been mad either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we got ammunition for season 2.
I love that. Which brings that brings us to our closing, right? So we actually had a couple of questions and a couple of things kind of set up to talk about, but they announced season 2 today.
They did.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of kills some of the questions, but
'Cause
we're gonna do them anyway. So
We got
first and foremost, like let's say unrelated to knowing that there's a second season, right? Would you go back to the house for another season? Are
absolutely.
you all in?
Would I sleep there? No.
No. All right.
Will I watch other people sleep there? Yes.
So this may be disappointing or not. I'm kind of on the fence, but the second season is unrelated to the first.
That's
At
fine.
least right now. It's gonna be like an anthology kind of thing. Different
Like American
house,
Horror
different
Story.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I'm a little on the fence. I like the idea of it, and I think in some situations it works really well.
I don't want them to suffer anymore.
Here's my thing. Love the house. Love the setting. Love the backstory. Love the characters. Like, you hit a home run. It's tough to hit a home run and step away and try to start all over again. In some cases, it's not like True Detective.
What if they explore
Same deal. Didn't work out.
the family that helped?
So this was my thing, and this kind of brings me to my next question, which is how would you set up season 2? And for me, I would have. Let me back up. I don't think Mike Flanagan is still involved. He's still writing.
Oh, so it's going to be good, right?
Yeah, it's going to be good. So how I would ultimately set it up is somewhat irrelevant, but I kind of always hoped that we would get a little bit more of a backstory on the ghosts or some of the other people that lived there.
The tall man.
Like, let's go back 50 years.
That would be
and
great.
Let's see what
how
happened
they
to
all
the
went
family.
crazy.
Yeah, the family in the 50s. Give me like a period piece or something. I was really into that idea.
Period pieces about
But we're
ghosts
not
are
gonna get
even more scarier for
They are,
some
in
reason.
a way. Yeah.
I watched one about something about a witch on Netflix. Set in like
We're calling it, it's called Witch.
witch.
They're drinking
Scared
Witch.
them. It was creepy, man.
Yeah, that-
and it was more creepy because it was set in that time.
That was an incredible
So
film.
like a period piece about the first Hill family, or even Poppy Hill, because we
Yeah.
didn't really explore her getting out of the insane asylum and going
I
to the
feel
house.
like, I feel like we need to do an episode on Witch at some point because that's like a absolutely insane film. But I'm with you.
I'm
I
too
agree.
scared to do witch.
That's all right, man.
The second season is going to be based off of a short story novella kind of thing called The Turn of the Screw from 1898
Turn of the Screw.
is the name of the correct.
Isn't it?
So, go ahead.
It's like spilled some whiskey.
Sorry.
Bryehouse?
I'm sorry.
The second
what?
season
What
has
about
a
it?
name.
Oh yeah, it's
Is it about haunted houses?
So that's like the that's
Bly
like,
Manor.
Bly Manor. I don't know.
Oh, so it's another haunted house.
Yes, correct.
Oh,
So it seems like, and it's a he also signed like a multi-series deal. So there's going to be multiple, like, this is not the end of it. So
Great.
I think his approach is probably going to be like haunted houses or places.
Do it, man. Yeah.
I mean, you know what, man?
I'm all about it.
You know.
You nailed it.
made
You hit a
happen.
home run.
Let's go again.
Let's
rock
go,
and
Mike
roll.
Flanagan.
Let's rock and
Big
roll
ups to
again.
you.
It's like American Horror Story, almost, where each season, I like how they keep the similar cast, and each season is pretty
They all play a different.
good,
Yeah.
but it's a different story, yeah. If you can keep that going, that's a...
What is American Horror Story? I'm like 9.
Oh, it's out there.
I gave up after like 3.
Yeah. All right. How many bottles of whiskey do you give Hill
How many
House?
bag-eyed bottles of whiskey do I give?
The Haunting of Hill House.
How many bottles? You want to throw at it?
Ooh. I'm a tough scare. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I'm a tough scare, man. So I'm gonna go a nice 4.5.
Okay.
To be scared and intrigued and want more, he kind of nailed it.
Yeah. I'm scared of giving something a 5 because I feel like
too.
but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I don't think I could have enjoyed this series more. I really don't. I think from a production standpoint, it was just absolutely fantastic. I think the story arcs were great, like through and through. I don't think anybody was a disappointment from an acting perspective. I just think that it really achieved so many things that so many other people have tried to and have failed at doing. Right? This is just like firing on all cylinders.
I have
it
not
really is great.
Heard you talk about what you did not like about it. Ooh. I gave you
You really
mine.
want to know? You want to know?
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to know.
All right. So, I think this was budget related,
Okay.
but the house was like, it was kind of talked about, and I feel like it was made out to be this like really like large, grand, like
The grounds of it.
yeah. It just
Yeah.
seemed like, and maybe I'm thinking
They
back.
mentioned that a few times.
I could be thinking back to the like 1999 film or something. where it's
No,
just
you're
like-
right. You're right.
Great film, by the way.
Catherine Jones still does it for me.
I feel like they scaled things down from like a budget perspective. Like I never got like these
How massive the house
wide
was.
shots, right?
I think they do it like one time with the hallway when he's chasing her.
Maybe.
They kind of explore how
Yeah.
large it is when he's like, what is it? The mom, whatever her
But
name
again,
is.
the house was built, and you could walk. He said you could walk through from hallway into room into living room to whatever,
Yeah.
and it was all one set.
Sure. I felt a little contained at times. Like, there were parts of me that wanted the big budget Hollywood film, like
House. Okay.
I wanted to see like this grand thing in all of, like, I wanted like the I don't know. There was a part of me that missed that, and it kind of felt like whenever they would drive up to the house or like look at the front of the house, it was kind of always like the same. It felt like the same plate shot a little bit of just like
CGI big house.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me because it was made for TV, so it's not like
we're
whatever.
nitpicking here. I'm nitpicking.
I mean, we're not critics, we're fans, so we can talk about what we don't like.
That was one thing, and that was just more or less like I loved what they did show me, but I wanted to see a little bit more.
Your contentions
They
were
did
more what I wasn't given.
They did such a
Okay.
good job with, like, everything that they did show you was like so well crafted and well done. Like, everything was just very meticulous. Someone cared a lot about everything that you were looking at, but I never felt like I got the big set pieces that you would maybe have gotten in a Hollywood film.
And I think for people just tuning in, we only do this show on things we like. So you'll never hear us just sit here and bash something for an hour.
That could change.
Possibly. At least for right now.
We could
It's a wild ride.
Just beat it in the hole. No, but
I kind of wanted to just tear something apart. I'm down with it.
I won't stop you.
Okay.
But right now, it's all we're fired up about things we like.
Yep. So, liked the season. You gave it a 4.5.
4.5.
I gave it a 5. We're
You know
excited
what?
for season 2. We're ready to go. You don't have to change your story.
I'm gonna stick in my 4.5.
Stick 4.5.
Because I was turned off by the superpowers.
I
It really hurt me.
I liked it. I thought they did it tastefully. I said that before. I'll say it again.
Just say she's a medium. Just say she's.
I don't think they ever
She's a
claimed
touchy
she was
medium.
a superhero.
Just say
but,
she's
all right.
touching. She's
She's
a
a touchy
superhero. She's a touchy medium.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
All right. She's a touchy medium. Okay. So, we've rated the show. We've rated the series. We've moved on. The villains were fantastic.
Ready for season 2.
All
I'm
that was
tuned in.
great. So good. Right? We
All
enjoyed
right.
some of the trivia. That was fun. It brings us back to the whiskey, to the bourbon.
To the 1776 Mr. Pepper, James E. Pepper.
And on the first episode, we really failed to rate it properly. So we're going to try to do a
60.
better job.
That was a callback to
0.6.
We're going to try to do a better job
Better
of
rating.
rating it this time around. So let's go ahead. I'll let you lead on this.
So
'cause
what we're
you
gonna
actually
do-
brought this to the show.
We're
this is your
officially
choice.
going to give a rating scale. And this will not be a rating, it will be a grading scale
There you go.
from
That's good.
A to F, because fundamentally that's what everybody knows, okay? Our shows will do bottles of whiskey, and then for our whiskey we will do grades. I hope everyone followed that. Whiskey for the shows, grades
It's
for
pretty
the whiskey.
straightforward. You're going to
Got
get it in a second. If you don't, that's all right.
James E. Pepper's 1776 straight bourbon whiskey, 50% alcohol, 100 proof, unfiltered, little person there.
That's James. That's his or his grandfather.
It could be.
Fine horseman.
I'm gonna give it a nice B plus
Okay.
because
Okay.
the sweetness. I'm not really a fan of the sweetness. However, I really like whiskey. It's very thorough. I like it strong. 50% alcohol. Doesn't taste bad. The taste is really good.
All right.
The sweetness kind of throws me off a little bit.
Okay.
But B plus overall.
I'm going to go B on it.
B?
straight
Just B?
I'm just going to go just B.
So we're on around the same.
I think we're in the same place. It really is.
My B plus is me being nice.
Yeah. I think the B is.
It averages out about a B then. B.
I'm not blown away by it.
Yeah. It's just good. It's a nice.
If somebody offered it to me, I would drink it. I don't know if I would like go out to the bar and be like, damn.
Let me get that
You got that
1776.
James? You got that Jameson Pepper up there?
Because I'm
Maybe.
Dr. Pepper.
Depends on what else.
He
they
was
got.
my
It's a
uncle.
fine lineage.
What? I I wonder what this would taste like with Dr. Pepper.
I don't. No.
Garbage.
Yeah.
100% garbage, probably.
And ice cream.
With that, I think that brings us to the close
Yeah, we're done.
of the episode. We're done.
I told you this last episode.
If by any chance you enjoyed what you just saw, we're
Subscribe.
Gonna subscribe, of course. That's a great call out. But we're also going to do an after hours episode, which is where we kind of just discuss the current topics of the week, or like whatever's going on.
That's where I let my hair down.
Yeah.
I get rid
This
of
is
it.
we're not going in deep in anything. This is very much just shooting the shit. So if you're into that kind of stuff,
Tune in.
yeah,
Keep
check
it
it
listening.
out.
Yep. So yeah, cheers. Let's cheers it out.
Bad guys and bourbon.
Hey.